We hear about AI breakthroughs almost daily, from powering your favorite apps to making really crucial decisions in finance and healthcare.
Mm.
But with all that incredible power, how do we really make sure these systems are safe, fair, and, trustworthy? That's what we're diving into today.
Precisely. We're taking a deep dive into the practical side of managing artificial intelligence, its governance, risk, and security. We've compiled insights from, well, a pretty comprehensive set of real-world scenarios, pulling out the core challenges and the most effective practices across the entire AI lifecycle.
Right, the whole life cycle. And our mission here is to really unearth those critical considerations for anyone deploying AI or even just interacting with it, from setting up solid policies and handling sensitive data to fending off cyber threats and working with third-party AI stuff.
Yeah.
Get ready for some genuine aha moments about what truly makes AI responsible in the real world. So let's kick things off with the absolute foundation, AI governance and oversight. Many organizations are, racing to deploy AI, but what's often the unseen hand holding them back, especially in regulated industries like finance, where AI might be used for something critical like fraud detection.
Yeah, it's not just about building a powerful AI, it's about building one that regulators can actually trust. Without robust policies and crystal clear documentation, these systems are essentially black boxes.
Black boxes, right?
And in finance, for example, that's not just a risk, it's basically a non-starter. Imagine trying to explain to an auditor why your fraud detection AI flagged a customer if you can't even show its decision process.
Oh, wow.
That can lead to significant penalties.
So explainability and auditability,
Right.
they aren't just buzzwords then. They're actually fundamental.
Far from it. Explainability, meaning how well you can understand why an AI made a particular decision, and auditability, the ability to trace its steps or recreate its rationale, aren't just good practices. They're key regulatory requirements for securing AI systems. They ensure accountability, and they help us understand the real-world human impact of these systems. If you can't explain an AI's decision, how can you genuinely trust it? Or even fix it if something goes wrong?
That makes sense. And to make sure that accountability and ethical oversight are truly embedded across an entire organization, what's the most effective structure? How do you build that in?
A formal governance framework is paramount. It's about more than just, a document. It's about assigning clear roles for decision-making, meticulous policy management, and actively cultivating a culture of responsible AI.
That's correct.
When you have these defined roles, accountability isn't just a concept, it's actually built into the fabric of how AI is developed and used.
Okay, so for organizations in those highly regulated spaces, maybe like financial institutions, how do they make sure their AI initiatives line up with their business goals and those strict ethical and compliance standards?
Well, a really smart move is to establish an AI steering committee.
A steering committee.
Yeah. And this isn't just another meeting, believe me. It's a cross-functional group of stakeholders. They're responsible for ensuring AI projects not only advance business objectives, but also rigorously meet all regulatory requirements and ethical considerations. It brings that high-level oversight right to the core of AI strategy.
Which brings us to something that sounds almost counterintuitive in the age of AI.
Hmm.
Human oversight. Are we saying AI can't just run itself? What role does the human element play once these systems are actually deployed?
That's where we get to human oversight. And it's not just critical, it's basically non-negotiable. Human validation and oversight are essential components in all AI solution procedures.
Essential.
They're vital for ensuring ethical soundness and catching potential biases or errors before a system ever goes live. You need that check.
So for an AI system to be truly trustworthy, particularly in really sensitive areas, maybe like medical diagnoses, it still needs that human touch,
Yeah.
that final check.
Absolutely. Human agency and oversight are a fundamental requirement for an AI system to be considered trustworthy. Take medical diagnoses, for instance. An AI might offer incredible insights, truly amazing stuff. But human validation of those AI recommendations isn't just important, it's absolutely crucial.
Right.
The AI can assist, it can inform, but the human clinician must ultimately make the final call. It's a partnership, really, not a replacement.
A partnership, I like that. So we've established the why of governance and the role of humans. But once you have these foundations, how do you actually set up and maintain the AI policies themselves? What makes regularly reviewing and updating these policies so incredibly important?
The single biggest driver It's the incredibly rapid pace of change, both in the regulatory environment and the technological environment.
Can be vast.
Exactly. AI is evolving at lightning speed, and so are the laws and standards trying to keep up. Without periodic review and updates, your policies, well, they quickly become irrelevant, leaving significant compliance gaps.
That makes perfect sense. And when organizations start bringing in new, powerful tools, like, say, generative AI, what's the very first action they should take to ensure responsible use among their employees?
The initial step, really the first thing, is always to provide targeted training for employees, and that needs to be coupled with a clear, acceptable use policy, an AUP.
Okay, training and an AUP.
Yeah, this ensures everyone understands the authorized scope of use for these tools, how to handle sensitive data correctly, and, the behavioral expectations. It's the best way to proactively reduce misuse before it happens.
So training and clear policies are key for generative AI. Got it. But even with that, it sounds like there's always a risk of misuse. What are the most effective ways to really enforce these policies and, cut down on violations?
Well, to enforce compliance effectively and reduce future violations, clearly defined enforcement processes and, importantly, disciplinary consequences for AI policy breaches are paramount.
Consequences.
Right. Training sets the expectations, but a clear understanding of the repercussions for non-compliance is what gives those policies real teeth.
Beyond just the general policies, what about specific detailed procedures for AI? Why are those so important?
Documented AI-specific procedures are vital because they ensure consistency. Consistency in how AI systems are developed and deployed.
Consistency.
Yeah, this consistency reduces error rates and builds trust by setting clear, unambiguous guidelines. It takes the guesswork out of really complex processes.
And when crafting those acceptable use policies, those AUPs for generative AI, what's a fundamental component that absolutely needs to be in there?
It's essential, really essential, to specify categories of permitted and restricted AI use cases.
Okay, what you can and can't do.
Exactly. These restrictions are fundamental and should be explicitly informed by the policy's context. You need to be very clear about what's in bounds and what's strictly out, especially with the wide range of capabilities these tools offer.
Makes sense. Now, thinking bigger picture, like a global enterprise operating across many different countries, each with its own AI regulations, how can they ensure legal and ethical alignment across all those different jurisdictions? That sounds complicated.
It can be, but for a global enterprise, the most pragmatic and, frankly, effective approach is to systematically map all applicable regional and international regulations to their internal governance policies.
Map them together.
Yes, this ensures comprehensive compliance and, importantly, streamlines audit readiness across diverse legal landscapes. It makes things manageable.
Okay, let's shift gears now to what I'd call the core of trust in AI, data management and integrity. From your perspective, what's the biggest challenge when training an AI model, especially when that model is going to handle a lot of sensitive information?
Oh, without a doubt, it's ensuring data privacy and security. That's huge.
Yeah, I can imagine.
When you're dealing with vast amounts of sensitive information to train a model, protecting that data from unauthorized access or breaches is paramount. It has to be the top priority.
So what's the best way to do that, especially when data moves into storage?
Well, that's why when training data is moved to long-term storage, data encryption is indispensable. It's really the most effective method for securing sensitive information.
Encryption. Okay, and when we're setting up procedures for data privacy in AI solutions, what's a critical consideration that maybe sometimes gets overlooked but is absolutely crucial?
It's ensuring informed consent and meticulously maintaining data confidentiality.
Informed consent, right?
These aren't just checkboxes. They are critical for upholding individual privacy rights and meeting stringent regulatory standards like GDPR. Skipping these steps can lead to significant legal and ethical dilemmas down the line. Big problems.
Let's say an organization needs to share a sensitive data sets, like maybe loan application data, with a third-party vendor for analysis. What's the primary reason they should anonymize that data first?
The primary reason for anonymizing data before sharing it with a third party is to ensure strict compliance with data privacy regulations.
Compliance.
Exactly. By removing personal identifiers, you prevent the data from being linked back to individuals, drastically reducing privacy risks. It's about protecting people.
So flipping that, if an organization is collecting data for an AI project and they maybe bypass proper consent or ignore privacy regulations like GDPR, what's the immediate concern during that data collection phase? What happens right away?
That's a primary concern, a huge red flag. Collecting data without proper consent or ignoring privacy regulations like GDPR during the data collection phase can lead to significant legal and ethical issues. It could potentially cripple the project before the AI model even begins to be built.
Right, stops it dead in its tracks.
Very much.
Okay, beyond privacy, data quality seems equally vital for AI.
Yeah.
How would you best describe the role of high-quality, relevant data in AI model performance?
High-quality relevant data is, well, it's the backbone of effective AI model performance. Simple as that.
The backbone.
It significantly improves accuracy and reliability, and interestingly, it can even reduce the need for frequent retraining.
Oh, that's interesting.
Conversely, poor quality data, garbage in, garbage out, it inevitably leads to inaccurate predictions and biased results, no matter how sophisticated your model is.
Makes sense. And when organizations are managing external data for their AI models, pulling data from outside, what's the most important consideration?
Verifying data provenance and ensuring regulatory compliance.
Provenance, so where it came from.
Exactly. You absolutely need to know precisely where that data came from, its history, and that it adheres to all necessary rules and regulations. This is fundamental for trustworthiness.
And this brings up a critical point about AI-generated content, right? What's the significant issue there?
Yeah, a significant issue is that AI tools, just by their nature, cannot guarantee the inherent integrity of the data they generate.
They can't guarantee it.
No. This makes it incredibly challenging for users to determine what can be trusted and what requires independent verification. Human oversight and critical thinking remain absolutely crucial here. You can't just take it at face value.
Speaking of data integrity issues, what about something like data poisoning? What's a highly effective way to address that in predictive AI systems?
The most effective approach for data poisoning in predictive AI systems is robust data validation before the model even begins training.
Before training, okay.
Yeah, this tackles manipulated labels right at their origin, preventing corrupted data from ever infecting the model in the first place.
And to truly support data integrity risk management for AI systems over time, because it's not static, what's absolutely essential?
Continuous monitoring and dynamic feedback are essential.
Continuous monitoring.
Yeah, data quality and integrity can degrade or, be compromised over time. So you need mechanisms in place to identify and promptly address issues as they emerge, ensuring ongoing reliability. It's a constant process.
Let's talk about the life cycle of AI data specifically, retention and classification. What's most important when it comes to defining clear data retention and disposal policies for AI? Why is that so critical?
Defining clear data retention and disposal policies is paramount in the AI data lifecycle, primarily to ensure compliance with regulations.
Compliance again.
Yes, but it also minimizes the risks associated with retaining data for longer than necessary. Those risks can include privacy breaches or regulatory fines if you hold on to data you shouldn't.
And when an organization is implementing data classification in an AI environment, deciding how sensitive data is, what's the primary consideration they should keep in mind?
Understanding classification levels is the primary consideration. It's the foundation.
The levels themselves.
Exactly. This understanding forms the foundational basis for how data should be handled. Its sensitivity dictates its security measures, its access controls, its overall management strategy.
So before an organization even begins to classify data for AI applications, what should be their very first step? Where do they start?
The first step should always be to develop a comprehensive enterprise data inventory.
An inventory. Know what you have.
Precisely. You can't effectively classify or protect data if you don't know what you have, where it resides, and its inherent sensitivity. This inventory provides that crucial baseline understanding.
And for actually classifying AI training data, putting those labels on, what's considered the most effective method?
The most effective method for classifying AI training data is using sensitivity labels based on data criticality. How important is it? How damaging would it be if it leaked? That determines the label.
Based on criticality, okay.
This ensures that proper security measures and compliance protocols are applied consistently, proportional to the data's potential impact if compromised.
Now, let's navigate the broader world of AI risks. Moving beyond just data to things like algorithmic bias and the wider societal impact. Imagine an AI hiring model that's, say, disproportionately rejecting candidates from a specific demographic group. What's the best way for a company to tackle that? That sounds tricky.
It is tricky, and the best approach is to conduct systematic bias detection and impact assessments while the AI system is still in training.
While it's training, not after.
Right, proactively. This allows organizations to identify and address biases early, aligning their systems with critical regulations like GDPR and EEOC before deployment. It's much harder to fix afterwards.
So when we talk about bias in AI, we're just talking about flaws in the data itself. Is it that simple?
Not at all. That's often the misconception. What's often fascinating and challenging is that the type of bias present in AI datasets, organizational practices, and processes across the entire AI lifecycle is typically systemic bias.
Systemic bias. Okay.
It's deeply embedded, not just a simple computational glitch that you can easily cleanse away. It's in the whole system.
So if it's systemic, how do you truly reduce algorithmic bias and discrimination? Is it just about cleaning up the data then, or is there more?
While data cleansing definitely helps, ensuring regular audits are conducted on the AI's decision tools is far more effective.
Audits of the tools.
Yes. Audits look at the entire decision-making pipeline, not just the input data. They help to uncover and mitigate that systemic bias and discrimination that might be hiding in the process itself.
And if, despite all these efforts, unfair customer treatment caused by data bias is still identified, what's the most effective way to manage that risk? What do you do then?
The most effective method is typically to retrain the model with balanced data while simultaneously tracking fairness indicators.
Retrain and track.
Exactly. This direct intervention with the training data, coupled with ongoing monitoring of those fairness metrics, is really core to responsible AI risk treatment.
So even after all this vigilance, building, training, auditing, what if some residual bias still remains in an AI system? What's the best course of action then? You can't always get it perfect, right?
That's true. Perfection is often elusive. The best course of action in that case is to meticulously document the impacts of any residual bias and proactively inform all relevant stakeholders of the remaining risks.
Document and inform.
Yes. This addresses ethical and legal responsibilities head-on and maintains transparency. It acknowledges the imperfection.
Let's talk about proactive risk management when implementing AI solutions. What's the most critical first step for any successful AI project before you even write code?
It's having a well-defined problem to solve. Seriously.
Is knowing what you're trying to do.
Exactly. Without a clear problem statement, an AI project can easily wander off course, failing to align with critical business objectives and strategy. It's the absolute foundation. Without it, you're building on sand.
That makes a lot of sense. So if you're implementing an AI solution, maybe for financial fraud detection again, what's that very first concrete action you should take?
The first action should be to clearly identify the business challenges, really understand the stakeholder needs, and define the precise solution requirements.
Requirements definition.
Yes, this initial framing sets the entire direction for the AI lifecycle, ensuring the solution actually addresses real-world needs effectively.
And during the early stages of an AI impact assessment, when you're trying to figure out the potential effects, what's truly most critical to identify right at the beginning?
It's most critical to identify the intended uses for which the system is designed and tested.
The intended uses.
Yes. This foundational understanding is crucial for any subsequent risk analysis and for comprehending the full spectrum of potential harms or unintended consequences. What was it supposed to do?
For a financial institution looking to categorize its various AI models for effective risk management, what's the smartest approach? How should they group them?
Categorizing AI models based on their potential business impact and overall risk level is generally the most effective approach.
Impact and risk level.
Right. This allows the institution to apply tailored security controls and allocate resources strategically, focusing more effort on the models that pose the greatest risk or have the biggest impact if they fail.
Okay. When an organization is integrating AI risk management into its existing practices, sort of merging it in, what best ensures consistent prioritization and the proper allocation of resources? How do you make sure AI risk gets the right attention?
Integrating AI risk measurements with clearly defined organizational risk tolerances through systematic policies is the most effective way.
Risk tolerances, okay.
Yes. It creates a unified framework for managing risk across the board, ensuring AI risks are treated with the same rigor as other business risks and prioritized appropriately.
And to really support integrating AI risk management into that broader enterprise risk governance program, making it stick, what kind of team or structure works best?
A cross-functional AI-specific oversight team is highly effective.
Cross-functional.
Yes, bringing together people from legal, tech, business units, ethics. This team ensures continuous alignment of AI risk management with the overall organizational strategy and enterprise risk posture, providing a holistic view.
AI risks are incredibly dynamic. They change all the time. How can an organization most effectively ensure it can adapt to evolving AI risks throughout the system's lifecycle?
Continuous monitoring, combined with periodic risk reassessment and clearly defined thresholds, is the most effective approach. It's an iterative loop.
Monitor, reassess, check thresholds.
Exactly. This iterative process allows an organization to identify new risks as they pop up and adjust its defenses as the AI environment evolves. You can't just set it once.
So what would be a strong signal that an organization needs to update its risk thresholds within its AI risk management system? What's a trigger?
Regulatory changes introducing new AI compliance criteria would most likely signal that need. That's a big one.
New regulations.
Yeah. The legal and compliance landscape is constantly shifting, and your risk thresholds must adapt to remain compliant and effective. A new law often means recalibrating your risk appetite.
To mitigate these emerging risks and maintain AI trustworthiness under such dynamic conditions, what's the best overall approach?
Establishing continuous output verification aligned with adaptive risk thresholds is probably the best approach.
Output verification. Checking what it's actually doing.
Yes, constantly checking the AI's outputs against expected results and those adaptive thresholds. This provides real-time assurance that your AI is behaving as expected and helps to quickly identify and address any emerging issues or drift.
So it sounds like it's definitely not a set it and forget it type of deal. How do organizations ensure their AI systems actually remain within those defined risk tolerance thresholds over time?
Exactly. It's an ongoing process. Continuous monitoring of AI system behavior and performance, coupled with dynamic adjustment of risk treatments, is the most effective way.
Dynamic adjustment.
Right. It's about constant vigilance and adaptation to ensure the systems stay within safe boundaries.
And specifically regarding AI risk treatment, the actions you take, what's the most flexible and effective option to ensure conformity with regulations as things change?
Setting adjustable AI risk limits is often the most flexible and effective option.
Adjustable limits.
Yeah. This allows treatments to remain effective over time, accommodating shifts in both the AI's behavior and the regulatory environment without requiring a complete overhaul every time something minor changes. It builds in resilience.
Let's move on to safeguarding AI itself. Security and vulnerability management. How do you best ensure security is embedded throughout the entire AI software development lifecycle, right from the start?
The most effective way is to incorporate security requirements right from the planning and design phases. Bake it in early.
Plan and design.
Exactly. This allows for early risk identification and mitigation, preventing vulnerabilities from being built into the system from the ground up. It's far more efficient and effective than trying to patch things later.
When you're designing an AI system specifically to detect and prevent cyber attacks, especially those with complex, maybe non-linear patterns, what kind of model is often a strong candidate?
For that kind of challenge, a random forest model is often a very good choice.
Random forest.
Yeah, think of it as hundreds or even thousands of individual decision trees all working together. Each tree makes its own prediction, and then the forest combines their insights. It makes the system incredibly robust against overfitting, which is a common problem, and highly effective at handling large, complex data sets typical of cybersecurity threats.
Before you even start building an AI system, how do you lay the groundwork for understanding its security risks? What's the first step in creating a threat model for an AI system?
The very first step is identifying all the system components, mapping out the data flows between them, and defining the trust boundaries. Where does trusted territory end and untrusted begin?
Components, flows, boundaries.
Yeah. This crucial groundwork allows security teams to pinpoint potential attack surfaces and vulnerabilities before they can be exploited. You really can't protect what you don't fully understand.
Building on that, for a threat modeling process to be truly effective for an AI system, what should it include? What makes it robust?
A truly effective threat modeling process for an AI system applies a comprehensive framework. That includes analyzing system components, detailed attack surface analysis, thorough threat enumeration, listing out potential threats, and clear mitigation prioritization.
Any examples of frameworks?
Sure, think established frameworks like Stride, MITRE AT&CK, or even the OWASP AI Exchange. They provide a structured way to identify and address risks systematically.
Once an AI-based web application is deployed and live, what's a great method to uncover any known vulnerabilities it might have in that running state?
Dynamic Application Security Testing, or DAST, is a highly effective method for that.
DAST.
Yeah. It analyzes the application during runtime, actively simulating attacks to uncover known vulnerabilities that might only appear when the system is actually processing requests and interacting with the data.
And to identify those more advanced, maybe more cunning threats, the ones that specifically try to trick the AI model itself, what kind of testing is most effective?
Adversarial testing is definitely the most effective for identifying potential adversarial threats in AI systems.
Adversarial testing.
It specifically tests the model's robustness against manipulated inputs, simulating the tactics an attacker might use to mislead or compromise the AI's decisions. It's like stress testing its judgment.
Let's consider LLM-powered customer service chatbots. They're everywhere now. What's the most effective strategy to identify vulnerabilities like model misuse, data leakage, or maybe prompt injection in those?
For those, the most effective strategy is to conduct really comprehensive vulnerability testing that assesses the full AI tech stack, not just the model.
The full stack.
Yes. This means looking beyond just the LLM itself to include model-level risks like hallucination or making things up, implementation flaws in the surrounding code, guardrail bypasses, and system integration vulnerabilities, especially those related to APIs and runtime manipulation. You need to test every single layer.
Okay, comprehensive testing. To ensure that your remediation efforts for AI vulnerabilities align with the actual business risk, focusing on the big problems. First, what kind of framework is best to build?
Building a risk-based AI vulnerability management framework is key.
Risk-based.
This framework ensures that you're prioritizing and targeting the vulnerabilities that pose the greatest actual threat to your business, optimizing your resources and focusing your efforts where they'll have the most impact.
Let's dive into some specific types of AI attacks. Can you describe an evasion attack for us?
Sure. An evasion attack is a scenario where an attacker subtly manipulates input data to mislead an AI model, but without directly modifying the model itself.
So they trick the existing model.
Exactly. Imagine in a fraud detection system, an attacker might alter transaction details just enough, make it look slightly less suspicious to slip past the AI's detection without changing the underlying model code at all.
And what about prompt injection? We hear a lot about that with new AI tools, especially chatbots.
Right. Prompt injection is an adversarial attack where misleading or malicious inputs, often called prompts, are carefully crafted to manipulate AI-generated responses, particularly in chatbots or language models.
What's the goal?
The goal is usually to make the AI perform unintended actions, maybe bypass its safety features, ignore previous instructions, or even leak sensitive data it shouldn't have access to or shouldn't share.
Here's a less common one I saw. Split view poisoning. What does that entail? Sounds sneaky.
It is sneaky. Split view poisoning is a particularly insidious attack where an attacker gradually alters the online training data over time, maybe subtly tweaking labels or examples the model learns from continuously.
So it learns bad habits slowly.
Precisely. This leads to the AI model retrieving and learning from compromised versions of the data, slowly corrupting its knowledge base or decision boundaries without immediate, obvious detection.
Okay, so for those prompt injection attacks in LLM-based chat applications, what's the best first line of defense? How do you stop them?
Input validation and sanitization mechanisms before processing any user queries are the most effective initial mitigation.
Validate and sanitize the input.
Yes. These mechanisms act as a critical first line of defense, scrubbing, rejecting, or maybe reformatting malicious inputs before they can even reach the LLM and cause trouble.
And for data poisoning attacks, where the training data itself is messed with, what's the most effective countermeasure for the AI models?
The most effective countermeasure against data poisoning attacks in AI models is actively identifying and removing outliers and anomalous data points from the training set.
Clean the data before training.
Exactly. This directly mitigates the attack's impact on the final model performance by eliminating the corrupted data points before they can skew the learning process.
How can organizations identify these data poisoning attacks early on? Seems like they could be hard to spot.
Well, tracing data provenance is crucial because it helps track the source and integrity of training data. Knowing where it came from helps.
Okay, provenance.
And simultaneously, using statistical anomaly detection techniques can flag irregular patterns or outliers in the data that might indicate poisoning. The combination of these two approaches, provenance tracking and anomaly detection, is usually most effective for early identification.
Thinking about some of the newer generative AI tools, maybe something like PassGPT, being used inside internal systems, what's a significant security concern or possible negative outcome there?
A major concern with powerful generative AI tools like that, if they're not properly guarded and controlled, is the potential for access exploits and security breaches.
Oh, so.
Well, their ability to potentially generate passwords, simulate sophisticated attacks, or even create malicious code means they pose a significant risk if they fall into the wrong hands or are misused internally, even accidentally.
Shifting to LLM security specifically, for IT professionals dealing with these complex AI systems using deep learning and neural networks, what's often the most significant risk they have to address?
The most significant risk, and it's a fundamental one, is the inherent lack of transparency in a model's decision-making process, often referred to as the black box problem.
The black box.
Yeah. This opacity significantly hampers threat detection and incident response efforts because it's difficult, sometimes impossible, to understand why the AI made a particular decision, and that why is crucial for identifying and mitigating threats effectively.
If you've got a chatbot that uses long-term memory, storing conversation history or user preferences, what's the most effective architecture control to reduce unauthorized access to that memory?
Implementing strong access control and robust encryption mechanisms is the most effective architecture control. This is really foundational security practice for securing any stored data, but especially sensitive long-term memory, against unauthorized access.
When an organization is deploying a brand new LLM, what's the very first action they should take to start tracking and improving its security posture over time?
The initial action should be to define key performance indicators, KPIs, and key risk indicators, KRIs, specifically tailored to the LLM's security risks.
Security KPIs and QAEs.
Exactly. These metrics are foundational for establishing a baseline, continuously monitoring performance against that baseline, and identifying emerging threats or degradations in security posture. You can't manage what you don't measure.
To ensure an AI solution, maybe an NLP model processing text, remains resilient to evolving threats after deployment, what's the best overall approach? How do you keep it secure?
The best approach is to integrate AI-specific threat modeling, adversarial testing, and continuous model behavior monitoring directly into your CI/CD pipeline. That's your continuous integration, continuous delivery process.
Rather than into the development pipeline.
Right. It's about building security in from the start and maintaining it dynamically throughout the entire life cycle, rather than trying to bolt it on as an afterthought or only check it periodically.
And for mitigating those malicious prompts, trying to trick LLM-powered conversational AI assistants, what's the most effective strategy?
Implementing robust prompt filtering and structured input validation is generally the most effective strategy there.
Filtering and validation again.
Yes, these act as critical gatekeepers, scrutinizing and, if necessary, blocking or reformatting user inputs to prevent malicious prompts from manipulating the AI's responses or triggering unwanted actions.
What if you have fine-tuned LLM's models adapted for specific tasks and they start showing security degradation after they've been deployed? Maybe they become easier to trick. What's the most effective way to address that?
Validating post-tuning security and layering runtime protections is critical and most effective.
Validate after tuning.
Yes, absolutely. You need to revalidate security after fine-tuning because the process can sometimes introduce new vulnerabilities. And then you layer on runtime protections during operation, things like output moderation to check what it says and input sanitization to catch issues in real time.
Okay, final security monitoring question. For continuously monitoring an organization's overall AI security posture, what metric best reveals how well they're actually doing at defending their systems?
Measuring the mean time to detect, MTTD, and mean time to respond, MTTR, to adversarial attacks against AI models probably best reveals the security posture.
Time to detect and respond.
Exactly. It's a direct measure of your defense capabilities and how quickly you can react to active threats targeting your AI. Lower times are better, obviously.
And what's the best method to track and evaluate the overall effectiveness of an organization's AI security posture over time? Looking at trends.
Using key performance indicators, or KPIs, specifically tailored to AI security objectives is the best method for that.
AI security KPIs.
Yes. These provide quantifiable metrics that enable meaningful trend analysis, clearly showing whether your security measures are improving, staying the same, or, unfortunately, degrading over time.
And one more metric, what's a really good security metric to indicate the effectiveness of data protection controls specifically for AI systems? How do you know you're protecting the data well?
The percentage reduction in unauthorized data access incidents related to AI systems is a very strong indicator.
Reduction in unauthorized access.
Right. This metric directly measures how well you're achieving your security objective of protecting sensitive AI-related data, making it a very strong indicator of your control effectiveness.
Okay, let's shift gears now to AI in crisis. Thinking about business continuity and incident response. If there's a major disruption, maybe a system outage or something, what's the most appropriate action to ensure your AI systems can actually remain resilient?
The most appropriate action is to fully integrate AI models, their associated data, and their underlying infrastructure into your existing business continuity and disaster recovery planning. Don't treat AI as separate.
Integrate it fully.
Yes. This ensures that critical AI-driven services can resume promptly after a disruption and minimizes the overall impact on the business.
When an AI asset hasn't yet been formally integrated into an organization's continuity plans, maybe it's new, what process is used to identify just how critical that AI asset is to the business operations?
That's where a business impact analysis, or BIA, comes in.
BA,
Yes. EIA is the standard process used to identify the criticality of any asset, including an AI asset, to business operations. It helps you understand its dependencies and what the consequences would be if it were unavailable, which then informs the continuity planning.
So if an organization is just starting to integrate AI security risk into their existing business continuity and disaster recovery planning, merging those worlds, what's the very first thing they should do?
The first step is always to identify the critical AI systems and their dependencies.
Identify and map dependencies.
Exactly. This foundational understanding informs all subsequent steps in developing a robust continuity plan for AI, ensuring you prioritize protecting what truly matters most to the business.
When it comes to incident response strategies, what's the most effective use of AI itself? Should it, replace human analysts entirely?
No, absolutely not. That's generally not the goal or the most effective approach. The most effective use of AI in incident response strategies is to support human analysts.
Support, not replace.
Right. AI should provide data-driven insights, maybe automate repetitive tasks like log analysis, while humans maintain crucial oversight, handle the complex nuances, and make the final critical decisions. It's a powerful partnership, human-machine teaming.
So, if an AI solution is assisting security analysts in incident response, what's the most meaningful metric to demonstrate its effectiveness? How do you prove it's helping?
Productivity, specifically measured in mean time to detect MTTD and mean time to respond MTTD.
Those metrics again?
Yes, because they directly quantify the time and potentially cost savings achieved by the AI's assistance. Showing a reduction in detection or response time demonstrates its tangible impact on efficiency.
If an AI-based intrusion detection system fails during an active cyber attack, the worst time, what's the best action to take to help business continuity right then?
In that situation, the best immediate action is often to leverage other AI tools, if available, to perform forensic analysis on the incident data. And then, critically, use that updated fresh incident data to immediately retrain the failed detection models.
Retrain on the fly.
Essentially, yes. This enables rapid adaptation and learning from the attack that just bypassed the system, strengthening future defenses almost immediately.
When a serious incident occurs, say a ransomware attack, it's an AI credit scoring model, what's the very first action an incident management team should take to ensure effective handling? First step.
Containment. Always containment first.
Isolate it.
Yes. The first action is to contain the incident, which means isolating the infected AI system, disconnecting it from other systems or networks if necessary. This is absolutely crucial to minimize the immediate impact and prevent the attack from spreading further.
If an AI-driven security system detects a cyber attack but then fails itself during the response, what's the most effective step afterwards to improve its future response capabilities? Learning from failure.
The most effective step is to refine the AI detection algorithms using the specific incident data from that failure.
Use the failure data.
Exactly. This continuous improvement process, learning directly from real-world attacks and failures, significantly increases the AI's ability to detect and potentially respond to similar future threats more accurately and efficiently.
What do you think is the greatest challenge in ensuring an AI system's continuity after it's been hit by a cyber attack? What's the hardest part of recovery?
Often the greatest challenge is ensuring the integrity and security of the training data post-attack.
The training data again.
Yes. If that underlying data was compromised during an attack, even after the system is recovered, the AI can continue to make faulty or biased decisions because its very foundation, its knowledge base, has been corrupted. It's a subtle but profound long-term risk.
What's often the primary challenge of using AI for real-time incident detection? We talked about benefits, but what's a key drawback?
A primary challenge and a common frustration is that AI models, particularly in real-time detection scenarios, may generate a significant number of false positives.
False alarms.
Right. This can lead to a deluge of unnecessary alerts and response actions, which can be costly, deviate critical human resources, and ultimately lead to alert fatigue, where analysts start ignoring alerts altogether.
When organizations are developing and implementing business continuity plans specifically for AI systems, focusing on addressing security breaches and exploits, what's the most critical aspect they need to ensure they have?
Ensuring advanced skill sets for their IT and security staff.
Skilled people.
Absolutely. These are the people on the front lines who will be defending against sophisticated AI-specific attacks and managing the recovery. Their expertise is absolutely critical for successful defense and continuity. You need people who understand AI security.
And when developing those BCPs for AI systems, but focusing more on preventing misuse and ensuring ethical compliance, what's the most critical measure to include?
Developing robust AI guardrails and actively monitoring for jailbreak attempts or misuse patterns.
Guardrails and monitoring.
Yes. This helps prevent the AI from generating harmful content, engaging in unintended actions, or being manipulated to bypass ethical constraints. It's crucial for maintaining responsible behavior.
What's a key requirement for an AI incident response plan, IRP itself? How should it relate to the main company IRP?
A key requirement is that AI IRPs should supplement, not replace, an organization's existing enterprise incident response plans.
Supplement them.
Right. They need to provide specific protocols for handling unique AI failures, like model collapse or severe bias drift, along with clear escalation paths and recovery procedures tailored specifically to AI systems and their unique characteristics.
To maintain organizational accountability throughout this whole AI risk management process, what's the single most effective practice?
Defining clear roles and responsibilities is the most effective practice. Simple, but crucial.
Clear roles.
Yes. This ensures everyone understands exactly who is accountable for mapping, measuring, and managing AI risk across every single stage of the AI lifecycle, from initial concept through development to deployment and ongoing operation. No ambiguity.
And when it comes to ensuring oversight of AI system quality and safety on an ongoing basis, what's the best activity? What provides the most assurance?
Human-led validation of data sources and input integrity often provides the best assurance.
Human validation again.
Yes. This direct human review and judgment significantly influences AI safety and trustworthiness, providing that crucial layer of common sense and ethical consideration that AI alone might lack.
Okay, let's round out our deep dive with the extended AI ecosystem. Managing third-party risks. Many organizations are integrating vendor-provided AI systems, perhaps for something like automated recruitment. What's the best course of action to ensure security and fairness requirements are met when bringing in a system like that?
Well, when integrating a vendor-provided AI system, especially for something sensitive like recruitment, the best course of action is to establish thorough fairness reviews with multidisciplinary experts.
Fairness reviews.
Yes. This involves people from HR, legal, data science, ethics, looking specifically for potential biases that could compromise the system's integrity or lead to discriminatory outcomes. It needs that diverse scrutiny before you rely on it.
If an organization is deploying a third-party AI-powered fraud detection model, maybe from a specialized vendor, what's the best approach to ensure that model's integrity? How do you trust their black box?
Conducting adversarial testing is still the most effective approach, even with a third-party model.
Test the vendor's model.
Absolutely. You need to assess how the model responds to manipulated inputs, simulating potential attacks from bad actors trying to bypass the detection system. You need to verify its resilience yourself, not just take the vendor's word for it.
For an organization deploying an AI solution that relies heavily on third-party components and data sets building on other people's stuff, how can they best ensure the integrity of that whole AI supply chain?
The most effective way is to conduct thorough third-party audits to verify their security posture before integrating their components or datasets.
Audit your suppliers.
Yes, you absolutely need to trust your suppliers and ensure they meet your security standards before you build their products into yours. It's vital supply chain hygiene.
Before integrating a cloud-based AI model in a really sensitive field like healthcare, what's the absolute most important thing to prioritize from a security standpoint?
Securing patient data using robust encryption methods is paramount, both in transit and at rest.
Encryption for patient data.
Always. Ensuring that sensitive information is adequately handled and protected according to regulations like HIPAA is completely non-negotiable in healthcare. Data privacy and security have to be the top priority.
Ultimately, what's the single best way to ensure that any third-party vendor meets your enterprise's security requirements before you integrate their AI solution? The main checkpoint.
The best single way is to conduct a comprehensive third-party risk assessment, TPRA.
TPRA.
Yes. This evaluates all security-related considerations, from their data handling practices and encryption standards to their incident response capabilities and personnel security. It provides that holistic view of their risk profile before you commit.
Let's talk contractual safeguards. If a payment service provider uses the third-party AI fraud detection system, and that vendor says they intend to use the customer transaction data for retraining their models, maybe without an explicit opt-out from customers, what's the best contractual safeguard the provider should put in place?
A strict data usage clause specifically prohibiting such use without prior explicit approval and clear customer consent is the best contractual safeguard.
A specific clause prohibiting that use.
Absolutely. This is crucial for ensuring compliance with data privacy regulations like GDPR and protecting customer trust and data rights. You need explicit permission for secondary uses like that.
Okay, different scenario. A marketing company uses a third-party generative AI service to create content, but then they face potential copyright infringement claims based on the AI's output. What's the best contractual measure they could have taken to mitigate their financial and legal risk?
Vendor-provided IP indemnification is the most effective contractual measure in that case.
IP indemnification.
Yes. This means the AI provider contractually agrees to assume liability, cover the costs and damages for any copyright infringement claims arising from the legitimate use of their service. It shifts that significant financial and legal burden away from the marketing company and back onto the AI provider.
Ongoing monitoring is absolutely crucial for third-party AI, right? What's the most effective way to monitor risk across the AI supply chain after the initial integration and contract signing?
Reassessing the supplier's security posture throughout the contract lifecycle is the most effective measure. Don't just assess them once.
Keep checking on them.
Exactly. Risk isn't static. Vendors change. Threats evolve. It's crucial to continuously monitor and periodically re-verify that your suppliers maintain their security standards over time through audits, questionnaires, or continuous monitoring tools.
To best support embedding, monitoring, and verifying AI security requirements when using these vendor-provided solutions, what specific tools or practices are key?
Using software composition analysis or SCA tools and generating or requesting software bill of materials, SBOMs, are key practices.
SEA and SBOMs.
Right. SCA helps identify and manage vulnerabilities in the open source components vendors might use. SBOMs provide a complete inventory of all components in the software, giving you crucial visibility into your AI supply chain, even for third-party products.
When an AI chatbot platform allows users to install third-party plugins, maybe to extend its capabilities, what's the most effective strategy to reduce the supply chain risk coming from those plugins?
Restricting the use of plugins to verified sandboxed options is the most effective strategy.
Verified and sandboxed.
Yes, this means only allowing plugins from trusted sources that have been vetted and ensuring they run in an isolated environment, a sandbox, where they can't interfere with the core AI model or access sensitive data inappropriately. It significantly reduces the risk.
For monitoring vendor-based AI solutions effectively, what kind of approach for AI monitoring itself is most effective? What should you be tracking?
The most effective approach is to include metrics specifically tied to the model's function and behavior, such as monitoring for output bias, detecting anomalies or drift in performance, and tracking overall accuracy or effectiveness.
Focus on the model's behavior.
Right. These are critical for ensuring the vendor's solution remains trustworthy and effective over time, and for enabling early detection of any performance flaws or unintended harmful behaviors.
Okay, final point. Protecting sensitive organizational information that gets used by third-party AI solutions is a huge concern, especially when you're developing disaster recovery plans. What's the most important consideration there?
Ensuring strict data management controls are in place whenever organizational data is exposed to third-party AI tools is the most important consideration.
Strict controls on data exposure.
Yes. This mitigates significant privacy and security risks, particularly during disaster recovery scenarios where data might be moved or accessed in non-standard ways, potentially heightening the risk of exposure if controls aren't tight.
And last one. If a company uses a third-party vendor AI assistant, maybe one that lets employees query company emails or documents. What's the best measure to prevent unauthorized data access through that assistant?
Enforcing role-based access control, or RBAC, within the AI assistant is the best measure.
RBAC for the AI.
Exactly. RBAC restricts the AI's responses based on the individual user's authenticated privilege levels, ensuring that the AI assistant only provides information or access to data that the specific employee querying it is already authorized to see. It mirrors existing permissions.
Wow. Okay. We've really unpacked a lot today.
Hmm.
I mean, from the foundational need for robust AI governance and that indispensable role of human oversight to the intricate details of data management, the complexities of risk assessment, the ever-evolving cybersecurity landscape, and even navigating those crucial third-party relationships, it's abundantly clear that responsible AI deployment is a truly multifaceted challenge. There's a lot to it.
There really is. This deep dive truly reveals that simply deploying AI, just turning it on, isn't nearly enough. Organizations have to commit to continuously managing its entire life cycle. That means clear policies, diligent data handling, proactive security measures, and crucially, a commitment to evolving right alongside the technology itself because it changes so fast. Ultimately, it's about more than just the technology. It's about building trust, ensuring fairness, and safeguarding against unintended consequences as AI becomes such an integral part of our world.
So thinking ahead, as AI becomes even more deeply woven into the fabric of society,
Right.
what do you think will be the next big frontier we need to tackle, maybe in terms of unforeseen risks or a new ethical dilemma we haven't fully grasped yet? And how might our current approach to AI governance need to adapt to meet whatever that next challenge is?